Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sequoia Project podcast, the podcast dedicated to talking about the ins, outs, ups, and downs of business. My name is Coby, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dale. Say hi, Dale.
All in one breath, man. You are getting good at this.
It's like
Hello, everyone.
nature.
Yep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I don't know. What are we? Episode?
Yeah, episode 11.
Let's go. Let's keep them rolling.
We're in the tens now. We're going to be jumping on and talking about... We've talked about, how to get over a lot of things. Now, the big thing we're going to talk about is what not to do, how to avoid mistakes, big things that we have done probably too many times, and now can pretty much just tell you guys not to do them.
Exactly right. So what we're going off the back of is 2 weeks ago, we spoke about confidence. We talked about decision paralysis last week. Now you've got basically all the tools. If you went back and listened from episode 1 right up to now, you'd have all the tools to go, cool, my business idea is good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it. What we're going to tell you is 10 mistakes to avoid making because we have made them. And like Coby said, we made them more than once because we had to figure all this shit out for ourselves for the most part. So now you've heard everything else. You're like, yeah, cool. I'm going to go forward. What we're going to do is try and save you a ton of time so you can do it as quickly as possible. I've got 5. Coby's got 5. We're going to do them kind of one each. And there might be some overlap here because we don't actually bring these to each other before we jump on here. We just do it live. So there might be some overlap. We might end up with 8, but then you'll have 2 that double up because they're so important. You shouldn't miss them.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Cool. You first, bro, or me?
You can jump off it. You jump off first. Let's see what you got to bring us in.
Let's go. The first thing is if you were going to start your business, don't kill too much time on branding, logos, getting the perfect website. The amount of time that I had personally spent, I was like, oh, the logo has to be perfect. It has to say all of this and do all of this, the branding and all that kind of stuff. No one actually cares. And there's a really, really good point here. Like, it needs to look good, sure. Like, don't just hand someone like a stick figure with a thumbs up. It needs to look good, but it only needs to look
banger,
good.
I'm not gonna lie.
It actually would probably
go to a business like that.
Yeah, it would probably fuck. There's just a stick figure with a dude with his thumb up, like, choose me. But like, that's the thing is like, everyone is so concerned about what it looks like. Let me tell you what it has to be. You will never get a second chance of going, I'm starting my first business. You just like authentically, you're not going, you only start your first business once. So don't try and make yourself look so professional that you take away that point of difference in the audience where they can look at you and go, oh, this guy's just starting out for himself. Let's give him a shot. People love that, especially local communities and stuff like that. People love that. If you spend 1,000 hours on your logo and your branding and stuff like that to make it look uber professional, they're going to expect that you've been in business for a super long time and that you're not going to make any mistakes. So don't lose a lot of time on branding up front. Put some time into it. You got to put effort into things you do. You want it to look nice and be proud of it and all those kinds of things, but it just needs to be good. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't take away that the first thing that you can give your audience is, hey, this is my first time doing it, because they'll lean into that and they'll want to support you. So that's my number 1. Don't kill too much time on branding and making it look like you're the best in the world.
I think I still have the logo that I created literally when we started this. I don't think I've updated mine or anything like that, other than just occasionally changing our saying to fit more what we're up to. But yeah, the CE Media actual part of it has always stayed the same.
Yeah, and that's all it needs to be, because like when people know what CE Media provides, they're not like, I wish the font was different. No, they just recognize that's CE Media, that's who does this job, that's what I pay for. So yeah, you just don't need to. When you're more experienced and you already know how to validate a market, and you've got 10,000 customers and you're going to start a new thing, you can go, yeah, cool, I might want a more fancy logo or whatever it is. But you're already profitable by that point. Go nuts. At this point, you don't need to. Don't spend too much time and energy and money on branding. It doesn't really matter.
No.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I've spent way too much time on websites and all that sort of stuff, but I love designing that stuff. So, I mean, how many times have I come to you with a new design for the website and you're like, fucking leave it alone, man. It was fine before.
Yeah. But like that's if you're starting up and you don't have time, you're not even genuinely interested in it just for fun, like Coby is.
Exactly.
If you hate doing it, just you don't have to spend that much time. No. Yeah. That's my number 1. What's yours?
Cool. Not actually knowing what you're selling. I think that's a big
bastard.
Is that one of yours? Yeah, I think that's a big mistake that so many people have. They kind of have this idea of what they're selling, but when they're actually going to people and trying to, or like getting asked about it, or going doing their cold calling and everything like that, if you don't actually have your offer, everything like that behind you and properly know what you're selling, I feel like that becomes more of a downfall than anything else. I mean, if I
Totally.
had have called people back when I started photography, and like if I was offering it to local businesses or anything like that and not actually known what I was selling to them and what the offer I was bringing forward to them, it just kind of, it's one, it seems unprofessional. Two, they kind of seem like they don't know where you're going there. And like if they don't know what you're offering and you don't know what you're offering, then what's kind of the point of the phone call that you've got going on there?
Yeah, yeah, it can be like a huge waste of time for them. If like
Absolutely.
yeah, and what I'd probably say just to give someone a little bit more context on that is like when Kobe was saying knowing what you're selling, like how it benefits them, how it benefits you,
Mm,
what the win-win is. If you don't have that in your conversation, they're kind of going, "Why are you calling me?" You know, like you're
no,
using their time, so you want to make it very evident. This is why I'm calling. Here's what you stand to gain. Here's what I stand to gain. This is how everybody wins. So yeah, that's
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
If you know yourself, like for example, for me, if I know I'm selling a photo shoot, then they kind of know I'm selling a photo shoot, but how's that going to
totally.
benefit them? If I can
Yeah,
bring forth for a real estate company, if I can bring forth, hey, I'm going to come here, I'm going to do this for free. Here's exactly what you're going to get. Here's all the photos you're going to get. Here's how long it's going to go take it to get across to you. Here's
mhm,
what I gain from it. Here's what you gain from it, and here's what I hope for us to have that overall outcome.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you
No
got to
one's
know
time
what
to
you're
waste.
actually selling. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's yeah, exactly right. If you're making cold calls or you're doing outreach to people like that, you don't want to waste their time because you're basically helping yourself to it before they give it to you. So you want to
Yeah.
make sure it's useful. Otherwise, they're going to be like, "This dude just calls me up and wastes my time."
You can lose so many leads as well of people coming
Mm,
in and asking about your service and you not properly knowing what it actually is.
yeah, this one actually ties straight into my number two. What you said was my number three, but my number two ties into this as well, which is if you are going to do outreach, any kind of outreach whatsoever, organic, paid, anything, and you cannot fill out this sentence, don't do it. You need to fill this sentence first. And the sentence you need to go, I help blank achieve blank by doing blank.
Hmm.
If you can't, the amount of people who said, yeah, I'm ready to do paid ads, or you've probably heard this even more than I have, and they're like, and you're like, great, like who are you trying to reach? And they're like, well, like people that play tennis. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, like are they in their 20s? Are they in their like, what are you trying to sell them kind of thing? If you can't fill out that sentence, then you're not ready to do outreach. You need to know what you do, who you help, and what they're going to gain from doing it before you fill it out. So that kind of just
Know
rolls
your
straight off the back of that.
audience. That
Yeah,
is
for sure.
such a big thing. Yeah, if you know exactly who you're selling towards, then it makes everything for your outreach so much easier. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and even like, it could be anything. I mean, everyone probably at this point knows what a niche is in an industry or a market, but
Mm.
like it can be so specific. I spoke to someone who just sold um, apparel to commercial pilots. Like that
Okay.
is that's such a niche thing. It's like how
Yeah.
easy would it be to find a commercial pilot? Well, there's not like that's their whole occupation. They have to study, they have to go to schools, they have to do so many flight hours. You can go down to flight schools. The only people that turn up there are commercial pilots.
Yeah,
So
100%.
it just makes it that's just a really clear example of one that I had come across my desk just on Friday, where it's like it's so easy to find that person because you know exactly who they are. And like
Yeah.
there are nuances to that as well in the way that like there is a certain amount of time you have to be flying for. There's a certain amount of licenses you have to hold before you do that. So the age demographic is even limited. Like you can't be a 12-year-old and be a commercial pilot. It's not going to happen. You have
No.
to come out of high school. You have to do some more schooling. You have to do some, and you're probably going to be, mid to late 30s at the earliest. And then 65 is about the retirement age. So you've got like the niche actually tells you exactly who your demographic is. So that's just a
Mm.
quick thing. Yeah, you can be hyper niche down so you know exactly who you're selling to. What's your next one, bud?
Uh, Not reviewing and improving. So after everything, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a job, no matter what it is, not actually reviewing the process that you've gone through and taken
Mm,
and not seeing how you could possibly improve or
mm,
what's gone wrong or anything about it. If you're not actually taking the time to review on literally anything you've done when it comes to business, I think that's such a big mistake and it's so many people's downfall because if you're not reviewing and you're not seeing what does work and what doesn't work, then you're staying in the same place and not knowing where the next step's going to be.
I I don't know why it makes me so proud to hear you say cool shit like that. But it does. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, that's my boy right there. That's
Half a
exactly
business.
what you should be doing. That's exactly what you should be doing. So no, that's huge. That is probably so far, probably the biggest mistake to avoid making is if you're going to do something, know why you're doing it, know what you want to achieve, and then straight after it, going, did it work the way I thought? What was different
Mm,
about? What would I change about it? That's probably the best one yet. Is you can save so much time just by asking yourself these questions. You don't even need a mentor to ask those questions. You don't need anything. You just need to go, I know what I was trying to achieve when I did this. Did it work? What would I do differently? Just that introspection is going to help you so much. I've got notepads and notepads of that shit when I first started. First 2, 3 years in business, there's a container in Queensland with just notebooks, all notebooks, because of what I did there. And those systems are born the systems that I use now. So very good, very good
yeah.
point.
I think like the first like 10 shoots that I'd do, you'd come back to me and you'd be like, oh, well, how'd it go? Like what worked? What didn't work? What would you do different? What would you improve? What would you keep the
Uh-huh,
same? And we like did that constantly from the very first photo shoot to the first wedding to the first time we did
uh-huh.
videography to all that sort of stuff. It was constant reviewing.
Yeah, 100%. Self reviewing is free, and it'll give you some of the best results you can. Feedback is external review is fantastic. That's why so many businesses ask for it. But if you can't review yourself, it's very hard to take feedback from someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, that's good. Um, I'm going to go along the same lines again to not knowing what you're selling.
Yeah.
It's also the other side of that is not knowing what your customer is buying. Okay.
Mm,
Because everyone has a service and everyone has a product. But if your customer is buying something because they want something else, that's really the key of what you need to know. So, for example, if you sell lawn care, your customer is buying you coming cutting the lawn. But
yeah,
what they're actually saying to you is, I don't want to spend my time doing that. I am far too busy, or I want to spend my time doing something else. So
they're
what you
buying
want to sell,
convenience.
yeah, what you want to sell them is convenience. What you want to sell them is low friction. What you want to sell them is their own time back, and then they
Mm,
will buy it because that's what they're actually trying to buy. So if you know what your customer, if you know what you're selling and what your customer is actually trying to buy, sometimes it's convenience, sometimes it's peace of mind. That's why people buy insurance. You know, a lot of people don't
yeah,
crash their car every year, but they buy insurance because it gives them peace of mind.
I'm
So
working on it though. I'm trying to crash my car every year.
I'm doing the best I can, but everyone around you is
Yeah,
just such a good driver. They keep swerving
exactly.
out of the way. But no, but that's the thing. Like, if you know what they're actually buying, it becomes a lot easier to make the transaction happen. You know what you're selling, you know what they're buying,
Mm,
and you can kind of go, cool, I sell waste removal or I sell products online, but what it gives my customer is this. So I can sell that to them because that's what they actually want.
yeah, 100%.
Cool. What else you got? I think I'm at 4 now. So we've got this would be number 8.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I the wrong one that's wrong? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 notes written down. I've only said 2. Yes, this would be my third one.
Yeah, but you took one of mine.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True.
So
Yeah.
hit it.
My
We're gonna be
bad.
one short.
This is absolutely going to be one of yours, I feel. And it goes back to something that we have talked about on the podcast, but not preparing for all aspects, both good and bad.
Yep.
Every situation. Is that one of yours?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I figured it would be. I'm so glad to take it with the chance. Yeah, so many people go in and they always prepare for the good, but I think like we have lists, real massive lists, preparing for anything that could go wrong, even if it's something that's going to be out of our control, all that sort of stuff. Something like weather or
Mhm.
like car breaking down, all this sort of stuff, making sure we're prepared and having something in place for if it all goes well, if it all goes wrong, how we're going to handle that, how we're going to make sure that it doesn't happen again, how we're
Uh-huh.
going to handle it on the actual day if it was to happen, all that sort of stuff. I think preparation for every outcome, good or bad, is extremely important.
That's a huge mistake not to make. Don't if you can avoid it, don't go out to do your first version or your 10th version of whatever product or service you're selling and then go, I hope this goes well. And if it doesn't go well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've done that. I mean, Coby less so because I taught him. We're teaching you guys exactly what I taught him 2 years ago. Um,
And
but
I
I've done
still
that.
fucked up.
And yeah, well, and that's why you're out there. You got to fuck some stuff up. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, one of the worst things, biggest mistakes I ever made was not having that covered, and then being standing out there in front of a paying customer, and you're trying to build your business, this brand, this expectation, and then going, oh, I didn't see that coming. That's a really hard thing to work your way out of, because when you're surprised, the customer's surprised, everyone that's involved surprised. So you're the one offering the service. You should know the best and the worst case, and you should have them prepared. If you can do that before you go out, you're going to save so much. You're going to save a lot of time, you're going to save a lot of energy, and you're going to save a lot of money. And it has cost me, not learning that lesson has cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, I can tell you now.
Yeah. Well, they're paying you to be the professional in the end,
Right.
so you need to know what outcomes are going to come no matter what happens.
Yeah, and even if you are really good at the running your business and the service in the first stages, there's going to be opportunities you've never experienced before, and there is an opportunity that I never had before where I started to work for a developer in our construction company. That because I didn't prepare for the new this environment that I hadn't been in before, I didn't know what that situation looked like, and I was so excited about the opportunity, I just jumped in, and I was like, "Yes, fantastic! This is exactly what I'm looking for. I want to grow my business." The problem came in that I didn't have what happened on the worst case scenario. I didn't even understand what that case scenario could be, and that one mistake cost me $80,000. So that's just to give you an idea on what it can cost you at scale. If you go, oh well, I didn't prepare this when I was doing this one on one. Well, when you scale it up, if you don't prepare, the punishments are just as good as the rewards. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's another thing to know. My You've taken two of mine now. I have my last one here, and this one you might actually have this one. We talk about this a lot. Is consuming too much information.
I don't actually have that. That means
You don't
all
have
of
it?
mine were pretty unique. Haha.
Yeah, good job,
Fuck yeah.
good job. But yeah, another big point is just finding a source of information that you go, cool, this makes sense to me, and then even you don't even have to listen to everything that person has ever said, but just go, cool, this is the stage I'm in. This person said something, or I read something that makes a lot of sense to me. Put the thing down and go and do it. Like
Yep.
go and practice that 100 times, rather than just going, oh, cool, like Coby said something I really like. I'm going to listen to everything Coby's ever said, because he's going to talk about 2 years of experience. And if you don't have 2 years of experience, it's not going to make sense to you right now.
No.
Just take the information, the trusted place where you go and get your information, take that information and go, cool, I'm going to do something with this now. And I'm going to practice it 100 times, because, yeah, I probably spent 6 months sitting around trying to listen to all this information, and I just got more confused. Probably the best thing that happened to me is I got so fed up with it that I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it my own way anyway. So it ended up being good, but I wasted 6 months. I could have been 8.5 years in a business rather than 8 now. So it's more so, just yeah, find something that you go, cool, that sounds good to me. I'm going to try it, and then go and try it.
I think not only that, but find the information and then don't just take it as face value. Find a
Mm.
way to make it relate to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and in the practice, you will do that as well. So if you hear
Yeah.
something, you heard something that Coby said, or one of the guys on YouTube or whatever, or you read a book and you said that makes a lot of sense to me, I'm going to go and try that. Um, it might not work exactly the same way as it worked for them, but then you can go, oh, but I can see how it would, and you can kind of
Yeah,
fact,
exactly.
fact check it and tweak it to you once you've practiced it. And then you can practice it more and more times until you become great at it. But yeah, that would be my final one is try not to consume too much information. Just go, cool, this is the information I'm looking for. This person said it really well. I'm going to go and use that and go and practice it 100 times.
Yeah. Sweet as. What comes into my next one is spending money when you don't need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we did a whole episode on this, or this
Yep.
was a huge chunk of one of the episodes. Yeah,
I don't think it needs to be delved into very
yeah.
deeply. I
It
think it's
says what it is
so
on the can. Yep.
straightforward. If you don't need to spend money on something, don't.
Yep.
And then the whole thing of if it's not going to make you money, if you're not making money on the buy, remembered it this time,
Nice.
then like it's not worth spending money. Unless you have such an excess of profit where you can afford to like improve or upgrade certain things.
Yeah.
Like that's a different situation. But when you're in this area, you don't need to buy new things. You don't need to always have the best of things. You don't need to, I mean, you don't need to go do a Dale and buy a whole ute and everything like that before you've gotten.
You really don't. I can tell you
No,
now.
you don't need to spend all of your money early on.
Uh-huh.
Just, it's not necessary. You don't
Yeah.
need to.
100%. 100%. If you're in that situation right now and you're kind of going, oh, well, I need to spend this money, man, just send us a message and we'll tell you straight up if you need to spend the money. If you're trying to start a business and you're like, oh, I need to spend 20 grand on this equipment, send us a message with, should I buy this equipment or how could I do it without buying this equipment? And we'll tell you. Because
Yeah.
we've made this mistake plenty of times.
I've been told no from Dale so many times on anything that I want to buy.
Well, that's also because you want to buy shit like rocket ships and and stuff that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, but life's good. I think I messaged you the other day being like, can I buy a laptop because I will be able to buy to draw frogs. You're like,
Yeah, because
straight up, that is the best reasoning you've given me so far, but it's still a no.
yeah, it's still a no, and you've done the most thought into anything you just text me randomly and wanted to buy. But drawing frogs is not a good enough reason to buy a laptop.
Yeah, I'd like to buy a drum kit. Okay. Yeah, glad we had this conversation.
Okay, well, I'm out. So have you got any more?
Yeah, my last one is scaling big too fast. Too big too fast.
Yep. Very good point. Very similar
yeah.
to the last point as well, which is spending when you don't need to, scaling when you don't need to, scaling when you're not ready.
Yeah. Putting on employees, all that sort of stuff when you don't have the team for it, everything. We recently tested a version of that in my business to see how it went for a couple of months, and it wasn't the play, which we actively acknowledge now, and that's part of growing and learning it and making the mistakes and everything around it. And I think we're better off because of it, but it was one of the things where it, in theory, was a great idea. Wouldn't have known if we didn't test it, but was an attempt to go too big too fast without the necessary knowledge and everything behind it. We had plenty of plans, everything set up, but there was just too much that was actually actively out of our control.
Yeah, 100%. And like, if you're going to shoot big, you have to acknowledge those gaps in between where you are now and where you want to be, because that the bigger you shoot, the bigger that gap is. And this is a really good lesson. Like even, Coby's in just over 2 years of business now. Something like 2 years, 2.25, something like that.
I don't know.
Something around there. But like even at this point, we're saying when you start up, like don't be afraid to validate, don't be afraid to test, don't be afraid. You do that all the time. 2 years in, Coby still does it. We're still doing it in the Sequoia project right now with the group and everything like that. It's always the same process done over and over again, because once it works, that's what you use. You validate your ideas and you test them. And sometimes you get good results, sometimes you don't, but it always leads you in another direction. There's no such thing as bad data, as we always say.
100%.
Yeah. So that's all mine. That's all yours. I think that was really good. That's nice and quick. 23 minutes. Let's jump into a quick murder or merger.
No, you gotta sing it. You gotta sing.
I don't have that. I can't get my voice that high.
Murder or merger.
Oh shit! Okay, we might actually have to take that grab and use that as the intro with a little flourish on the end. I like it.
That's my only talents. Thank you for coming.
That was really good. I'm very impressed. Cool. I got something for you, because I have a lot of shit that comes across my desk on a daily basis. I heard something last week, which was, I'm not going to lead the witness, but it's pretty cool.
Let me lean in on my chair for this.
Lean in a little bit. So have you heard of a company called Mind Flight 7?
Jamie, pull that up.
Quick yes or no will do.
Mind Flight?
Mind Flight.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Mind Flight 7, it's an Australian startup, and what they're doing is they're bringing VR, so virtual reality, into schools and bringing them into classrooms to enhance how we learn, how children learn in classic education. So it's more so pointed towards a different style of education where someone is more immersed in what they're learning rather than reading and watching and things like that. They're more immersed. It has a huge cost for the schools and stuff like that, but it's kind of being pitched as like education done differently, technology and education meeting to take what we think is education classically in a completely different direction. So it's a very high cost. And where I think that where I think the murder or merger thing is like, let's say you have 30 kids per classroom, and there's, 1,000 kids, 4,000 kids in some of these giant schools now, these super schools. Um, how do you get each kid with enough time? There's only 8 hours of schooling, and if you take out breaks and whatever, lunch breaks and recess, how do you get every kid in the classroom to experience this? Or do you have to engineer an entire VR classroom where everyone can participate? So I think the murder or merger is, the idea is, does the cost meet the benefit? And how could it meet the benefit?
There is not 8 hours of schooling.
Isn't there? I don't even know. It's been so long since I went to school, dude. I'm
I
old.
also went to school 4 years ago, and it was 9 till 3:30.
That sounds about right. I can't even, dude.
That's like 6 and a bit hours or something.
Great.
Now that I'm not confident in my maths,
But if you take out, I mean, I don't even know how long recesses and stuff are. Anyway, we're getting off the track. That's not the track. The track is
I'm
how do you
looking
get
at
30
this.
kids? Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. I think it, like, thinking back of when I was in school, I was not a good learner. I'll put that briefly. I was pretty smart, but I hated the natural version of learning. So I think
Mm.
something like that being so hands-on, and from what I'm seeing here, there's like a lot of people, like they've got like Surgeon Simulator and all that sort of stuff in there. So it's very hands-on education, and I know for a lot of kids, especially these days, everyone is a little bit out there with their learning.
Mhm.
So it's not the same as it used to be. So I think something like that is really interesting and definitely a great thing for a lot of schools to bring in for education. But the fact of, the access to it, like if you're bringing that many, like, is it going to be for every subject? Is it going to be in
Mm.
every classroom? Is it like, because that is a lot of expense for schooling, and I can't imagine they're bringing it into public schooling because most of that's funded by governments and whatnot.
Mm. And this is the thing, is like, as the business, knowing that it would be such a high cost to get into a school, but like that cost has to be, passed down to someone. Like the school can't just wear a $10 million upgrade and not get
No,
any benefit, because they're not getting any more classrooms, so they can't have more kids. There's no volume of kids,
no,
and I mean, good luck. I mean, I don't know what schooling costs now because I don't have kids, but like, good luck if you've got 4 kids in school and the school turns around and says, school fees are going up by 20 grand next year. Um, you're going to have people pulling their kids out of schools like that because it costs too much. I think schooling's already quite expensive as it is, especially private. Um, so yeah, it's more so a matter of like, who's going to pay the bill for that. And like, I mean, I don't think the government's going to cop a $10 million per school upgrade. So
God, no.
yeah, is it something where it's such a good and revolutionary technology, and it could have such a, and the thing is, the impact on society. Imagine going through school and being able to do Surgeon Simulator, for example, for 10
It's
years.
it's really hands-on and everything, like, it's
Mm,
active learning, and so many kids would really benefit from that, and it would bring such a unique selling point to those
mm,
schools as well,
mm,
which it can potentially allow them to, bring kids in for that point, especially for a lot of people that may have, like autism, ADHD, all that sort of stuff. That may
mm.
be their preferred way of learning. So it's definitely could be something that's going to be more related to them. That is
But
tough because that's a lot of fucking money.
yeah, and you've got to, like, see, the thing is as a school, you've either got to get more kids into the school because more people paying school fees using the same facilities means more money, or they've got to pay more to get into the school. So
Yeah,
yeah, it could be a really good way to fill your roster, and make sure that you don't have any vacancies. But once you're at max capacity, the technology still costs what it costs, and you've only got
yeah.
so many kids using it. So
Then you've
I
also
think,
got costs of maintenance and if
yeah,
anything breaks and all that sort of stuff.
yeah. So I think personally, I think it would revolutionize not only just the education system, but society as a whole. Because if you had
100%.
people getting a better education, a more hands-on education, practical experience for years before they left high school, university, I mean, I don't think it would be obsolete, but they'd be coming out far more skilled than they normally would be.
Because it's practical skills over the actual
Yeah,
theoretical.
100%. And again, if you're spending, like, if the schools and the parents and that are spending all this money on this new product, it's very unlikely they're going to be learning things they don't need to learn, rather than using this technology. So, for example, something like Romeo and Juliet. And for all you poets out there, sorry, but that's probably not the most important thing to be learning.
You
But
get a better career.
yeah, but like that's the thing. Let's not call out poets directly on the podcast if you can manage not to.
Talking to you, Sandra. You know what's up.
But like if you were like, all right, cool, it's either spend an hour on the surgeon simulator or let's listen to Hamlet. It's probably a bit, you're paying $10 million for the technology. You're probably going to not make them sit around and read old poetry. So
Yeah.
I think as a business, I think it's really high risk, and it would have to get some kind of government backing somewhere in the world where they
100%.
said we'll pay the bill, and you can implement it in the schools. If you did that, then it's an absolute no brainer. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a hard sell to add 20, 30, 50% to school fees, and the parents wear the cost of doing that. And the school could take some of it, but the classrooms don't get any bigger, and they don't have any more buildings, and they don't have any more teachers, and so the volume gets choked out a little bit. So I think government approval, merger, private. I think I would say murder.
I could see it bought into universities more than public schools or anything like that. Because then that way they can use it for specific fields or even TAFEs or anything like that. Say if you go into like a mechanics course, and you're able to work on this car without actually fucking up a car, and what's going to be more cheap, constantly bringing in cars or just using this like technology where they can actually get in and maybe even select the version of car that they're going to be working on if they're going to be a specific like BMW mechanic, and there's all of these models that they can actually go in without having to try and get BMWs in there for them to learn on. Or even like, again, surgery, you're able to actually have access to the people without the chances of killing someone. So I think in a further education factor, especially considering how expensive so many universities actually are, it would probably be a lot more of a merger there. I think in something that already is so high cost, and that can be the difference between someone going to this certain university or this one for the hands-on experience. I think that's where it would thrive over something like a private school or like a public school or anything like that, like a secondary studies or anything.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna, go.
Like, yeah, just if they could bring the cost down, if they could not have it cost so much, I think it would be absolutely life-changing.
I think in 15 years, this is a merger across the board for me.
100%.
I think once the technology is so common and we're so used to manufacturing it and all those kinds of things, I think in 10, 15 years, this is a merger across the board. I think right now it's an awesome idea, and it might take them 15 years to roll it out on a countrywide level or a national level. But in 15 years, it's a dead set absolute yes for me. Right now, like I said, if government gets involved and they're willing to front the bill for the betterment of Australian society, then it's an absolute done deal for me. Privately, even on the university fronts, I just think the cost is too high, because you have to separate it between all the different departments, and you have to train the teachers on how to use it, and you have to have people that are going to study art history versus people who are studying architecture. It's just, to me, the cost is too high.
Could you imagine being able to walk through a house that you've designed though on VR?
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. And in 15 years, 10, 15 years, I would 100% merge with it. It would be part of my business. But I think the cost is too high for private right now.
Yeah. Is this an Australian company?
Yeah, Australian startup. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on it.
Yeah. If it makes Australia better and the government funds that, then mate, Australia will be better. I think Australia will be better. But I don't know if they'll reach into their pockets to do that.
Yeah, I mean, have you met the Australian government?
I haven't met them personally, but I've heard a lot about them.
Neither have I.
But yeah, anyway, that's what I think. And I think I really like this segment. This is a lot of fun.
So do I. And we're coming up on about 35 minutes. We're pretty...
Let's go.
Pretty there.
That's it. Drop the mics.
God, it's connected.
All good. Well, yeah. Anyway, if you've got anything that you're hearing about, you're hearing some murder or merger content you want us to talk about on the show, send it through. Any questions? Also, you can direct message us on YouTube or any of the socials that Coby's got taken care of there. Otherwise, subscribe, get your weekly dose, and if you need anything, all the links are in the description. This isn't usually, I don't usually do this.
Subscribe and get your weekly dose.
Yeah, get your weekly dose. This isn't like, we're not drug dealers, but we're like information dealers.
Yeah, and isn't information the true drug?
Yeah.
If you guys like it, yeah, hit like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah, as Dale said, message everything. We still have the group going for our testing rounds of all that sort of stuff. So if you want to come
Mhm.
in, have your questions answered, have access to talk to Dale and I, jump in there.
It is. It is also 1 week free trial while we're in beta as well. So if you're liking what you're hearing and you want to click on there, the link will be in the description. You can jump in, try it out for a week, ask a question, get some experience. And yeah, we're on there answering questions, text, audio, and video, and all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of info on there as well.
You'll also be notified every time that the new episodes of the podcast are posted as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for tuning in, guys. And we will chat to you again next week.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.